think this might be the right. I hate when I can't get the mic, y'all. This is so crazy. All right, hold on. How do I want you? Do we have ourselves a mic? I think we do. All right, everybody, come on in. Come on in. Welcome. Hey, everybody. On today's episode, we're going to talk about building the foundation. On the sheet of paper that you have, you're going to jot down the words, my foundation equals my temple. Foundation equals my temple. And underneath that, I want you to put my temple equals my mind, my body, and my soul. So my temple equals my mind, my body, and my soul. And then underneath that, or even to the side of that, I want you to put peace, P-E-A-C-E, because the whole purpose of this video is to learn and understand different ways that we can build stronger foundations so that we can ultimately protect our peace, right? You want to be able to protect the peace of your mind. You want to be able to protect the peace of your body, the peace of your soul. And how are you going to do that, right? What are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your soul? Let's dig a little deeper, right? And I'll show y'all how mine looks, just so you get an idea. So I put my foundation equals my temple equals my mind, my body, my soul, and then underneath that peace. So pretty self-explanatory, right? We don't really have to go too deep into what needs to be on the paper. Underneath that, we're going to put a big bubble. And why are we putting a big bubble, right? And notice how I said we're not going to put a box. And the reason why I said we're not going to put a box is because I never wanted to think of ourselves as boxing ourselves in. We're never thinking inside of the box. I want us to think outside of the box. I want us to know that we can expand. When you think of a bubble, you think of a bubble as expanding, as growing, as being able to float, being able to be in the flow of energy, right? So you want to be able to see that you yourself can grow, you can change, you can prosper, you know? It's like the trees, it's like nature. You are the essence of life, right? So if you know that you are the essence of light, then you know that you can grow and you can become a better version of yourself. So let's dig deep into it, right? So our first bullet point that we're going to put under our bubble is starts within. It says starts within. Perfect. With this bullet point, I want us to emphasize or highlight everything that we're seeking starts within ourselves. We don't need to go out and take from other people's foundations what we should already have within our own foundation. That's a good rule of thumb. I think we should jot that down. So under starts within, we're going to put, you don't take from someone else's foundation what you should already have within your own. And we can apply that on so many levels when you think about it. But what I truly mean by that is, when it comes to your foundation, you need to know that everything starts from within. Everything starts from within yourself. And you're able to apply self-love to your life. And what exactly does it mean to truly love ourselves? I know a lot of times we see all these posts online and we see, you know, a lot of people telling us, you know, you should love yourself. Love yourself. I've heard that a lot growing up. And nobody really broke it down to me what exactly that means. And that's because I needed to figure it out for myself. And that's the whole point why we're starting this episode on how to build our foundations, because that was one of the things that I realized that I was missing throughout my life, was I didn't have a foundation together. I didn't have anything that I stood on. I didn't have any morals about myself. And so I didn't know that everything that I was seeking started from within myself. I didn't know that love started within myself. And so I really had to break down what love meant. What are the attributes of love? If I know that love is patience, and love is kindness, and love is being compassionate, and love is being light, and love is being positive, then why can I not apply the attributes of love to myself? You know what I'm saying? If I know that love is to be kind, why don't I start being kind to myself? And I really had to get out of the pattern of being negative. I was a negative Nancy. I was a negative thinker, especially when it came to myself. I would talk down on myself. I would beat myself up. Whenever I made a mistake, I would, the way I used to talk to myself, I don't even want to repeat it because you don't talk to yourself like that. But I was talking to myself with such strong criticism. And I think we need to realize that it's okay to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves. Because we're going through this experience, we're going through this thing called life, and we don't have all the answers sometimes. It's okay to figure it out as you go. Why? Because life is a test. We're here to figure out, and we're here to learn our lessons. We're here to learn from our mistakes. My whole point in saying that is you have to know that love that you're looking for, it truly starts from within. It really starts from within, and it starts with you correcting your behavior. We just need to learn how to be a lot more compassionate with ourselves. We do it for everyone else, but we forget to take the time to do it for ourselves. We forget to say, you know what? I'm proud of you. You ever take a step back sometimes and look back on your life and just think, damn, I've been through a lot. I'm proud of myself. And you see how that makes you feel to uplift yourself? There's that self-love. There's that self-motivation that you have. There's that self-compassion, that self-accountability. That's another point that I want to make here. Because along my journey, what I realized is that I couldn't really grow until I took accountability. I think a lot of times when we hear the word accountability, we want to run from it, right? It's not our fault. We don't want to be the wrong one. We don't want to be the one at fault. We don't want to be the one who did something wrong. We need to grow up. I had to grow up, right? We really need to grow up when it comes to what accountability is in general. Or not even in general. Let's go back to the self, because we're here to talk about self. Starts within. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to starting within. One thing that has helped me along my journey was I had to start realizing that some things in my life that had occurred to me or had gone wrong, or certain relationships or certain friendships that kind of fell apart, I did play a part in it. And it's not even about being right or wrong. That's not what accountability is about. Accountability is about owning up to your mistake and learning from them. So I had to literally dissect everything that had gone on in my life. And it's a painful experience. The healing process and learning who you are and going through your journey, it's not an easy process. It's a beautiful process, but it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's like a beautiful tragedy, or like it contradicts itself. What is life? You know what I mean? Like, what is life sometimes? I realized that a lot of things were my fault, or I did play a part in it, because it's not about who's at fault, right? But once I took accountability, or was able to take accountability, I really realized that that's where all the power lies. I was running away from my problems my whole life, but I had to take a step back and realize, like, hey, because once you realize that you're the reason for some of your downfalls, it's powerful, because you know that you could be the reason for things going good in your life. From that experience, that gave me this outcome. So I know not to do A, B, and C again. So that way I don't get this outcome, right? So you start to examine your life, and you start to really appreciate the things that you go through, because it provides you with the lessons of what not to do. It allows for you to navigate throughout this thing called life. So that's why self-accountability is super duper important, because when you're able to take accountability, you take the power back from other people. You can't say it's someone else's fault for why you are where you are. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? And I had to realize that, because I was one of those people, like, mad at the world, mad at other people, mad at everyone else, wanting someone else to come and love me, wanting someone else to be kind to me. It wasn't until I realized, until I didn't have anybody else, because that's how God works. He'll literally put you by yourself. And a lot of times we're go crying throughout the world saying how our friends don't support us or our friends weren't there for us. That's because they weren't supposed to. Your friends were not supposed to be there for you at that time. God puts you in a place sometimes where you need to be alone because you need to be reminded of who you are and the power lies within you. You need to be reminded that that love that you're seeking, that you're wanting from someone else's foundation, starts within your own foundation. Did you forget that you had it? And I think a lot of times our life lessons are reminding us, because I've realized a lot of my lessons that I've learned in life bring me back to myself, bring me back to gaining a deeper knowledge and having a better understanding about myself. You know what I mean? Wow, I gotta take a break on that one. That's powerful. That's powerful. Because it all leads you back to yourself. It ends up, no matter what way, shape, or form, it leads you back to you needing to see that you need to build a strong foundation to protect your peace. So far, we have starts within. We know that love, we're how to love yourself. We're breaking down the attributes of love, being kind to yourself, right? We also just discussed how everything starts within self-accountability. Put that down next. Love, be kind, be compassionate, nurture yourself. And these are all such great words. When you're expressing yourself or when you're jotting down things about ourselves, we want to use words like nurture yourself, be kind, be gentle. You know what I mean? You don't want to be harsh with yourself. Don't throw your own self away. No one else is going to know how to treat you if you don't know how to treat yourself. And that brings me to my next point, respect. I like this point. It took me a minute to learn this point here. It really did take me a minute to learn this point. But this one here, we're going to put respect. And in front of respect, you want to put the word self, because we're always referring everything back to ourselves, because in this episode, we're learning about ourselves, right? Or trying to build a bigger or stronger foundation. And then next to self-respect, you're going to put non-negotiable. What exactly do we mean by non-negotiable? I mean just that. When it comes to your respect, it's non-negotiable. You're not going back and forth with people on it. You're saying and you're meaning what you say when it comes to your respect. And so under this category, when it comes to respect, we need to have what? Morals. We need to have some sort of blueprint or just some type of morals about ourselves for somebody to respect us, right? We need something for someone to go off of to respect us. We need boundaries. We need certain things in place. This is a big step for me because I realized that I was going throughout life and I didn't have any morals about myself. I didn't have anything that I stood for. I didn't have any standards about myself, right? And that's really what I was missing, because without those things, people can't respect you. If you don't know how to respect yourself, no one else is going to respect you. And can you really blame them? Can you? I was so mad at everybody else for not knowing how to treat me, but I didn't know how to treat myself. I wasn't telling them how to treat me. You have to teach people how to treat you. I think we forget that we live in a world where there is a billion trillion of us, right? And we think differently. We have different ideas. Why would you think that someone is automatically going to know how to treat you, how you desire to be treated, right? You would have to display that about yourself so that way they can see, hey, you respect yourself, so I should respect you. And if they don't respect you, that's when it comes to non-negotiable. You don't go back and forth. Hey, you don't respect me, you don't respect what's going on in my foundation. Okay, cool. Let's call it a day, right? Under respect, you're going to put morals and create standards for yourself. When it comes to respect, it's not necessarily always to the point of how other people view you, right? Because again, this is about how we're viewing ourselves. It's not about what everybody else thinks. So it's not so much, I don't want us to get caught on so much with it being other people having to respect us. No, it's about that self-respect that you need to have within yourself. What morals do you have in place for yourself that you won't break, that you won't cross the line for? What boundaries do you have in place that you won't fold on yourself for? You know what I mean? And that's where the test comes in, because it's like, damn, you create these boundaries, but you really have to abide by them if that's what you stand on. So have some dignity about yourself. Have something about yourself that you can be proud of, that you can stand on. Learn how to say no sometimes. And this was big for me because I'm such a people pleaser. I love doing things for other people. I love helping other people. If I have it, I'll give it. I'm that type of person, right? But I had to get to a point in my life where I had to learn how to say no. No. I think the first time I said no and didn't feel bad about it, I was like, wow. It was like a weight lifted off my shoulder, because it was like I was standing up for myself. I was sticking up for myself. I was finally doing things that I wanted to do. That's a part of having self-respect for yourself. I think so far we have moral standards, but boundaries is that's a key word to put under self-respect. Learning how to create boundaries for yourself. I had a good friend of mine, he told me a lot of people don't need to have access to you. And that goes back to what we're talking about, to our temple. A lot of people don't need to have access to our minds. A lot of people don't need to have access to what we're thinking. We don't need to always consume other people's thoughts all the time and make them our own. You got to be able to take some information in, but you got to be able to block out. And that's super duper important also while we're on this topic, because it ties all in when we're talking about our foundation, because we need to also recognize that we are going to hear other people's opinions. We're going to hear other people project their opinions onto us, right? We're going to hear other people tell us their thoughts out loud. And it's up to us to know who we are so that we are able to perceive those things, and we're able to differentiate between our thoughts and their thoughts, or your thoughts and their thoughts. And when you're able to make that difference, it's so powerful, because now when someone else is projecting onto you, hey, you're insecure, you need to be able to tell yourself that you're confident. You need to be able to lift yourself up. That goes back to knowing that everything starts from within. Because we're going to go throughout life where it's just other people's projections, other people just thinking out loud, other people expressing. And that's okay. That's okay. All of that is okay when you know yourself. All of that is okay when you have a strong foundation. The next point that we're going to put is value. How to add value to yourself. Before you even add value to anything, you have to know what it's worth. We need to realize that how we feel about ourselves, and when it comes to our worth, right? We gotta stop equating our worth to how other people feel about us, to money, to material things. We don't feel confident about ourselves until we've accomplished A, B, and C, right? We don't love ourselves until we have this amount of money, or until we have this car. And until we get to these certain destinations, we put our worth on things that are far away. We put our worth on things that are tangible. We put our worth on things that are meaningless. When did we get to a place in life where money is who we are? You should be able to feel the same way about yourself if you got $2 to your name, or if you have $2 million to your name. You should still be able to have that same level of confidence, because you are the generator. You are the creator. So if you create the money, if you create the experiences that you want to have, if you're creating these things that you think are going to make you quote unquote whole, then the value is not enough things. The value is truly you, and you can't put a price tag on you. Stop allowing for other people to tell you how you should feel about yourself. How do you feel about yourself? What value do you bring to the world? Especially with that situation that I just gave. In what way can you be of service to someone else? Or in what way can you be of service in this world that has nothing to do with money? If they took away money and said, you know what, money just doesn't mean anything at all. I know you guys have hella money saved up in the bank, and you did this, but guess what? Today it doesn't mean anything, right? How many people would feel like shit about themselves. Even myself, I've been through it also. I wasn't at a certain place in my life and I began to beat myself up and I began to think less of myself and think that I'm a failure and that I'm not accomplishing things in this life. We gotta say, whoa, those are self-limiting beliefs right there. Thinking that you're a failure, thinking that you can't accomplish things, thinking that, everything that you've done so far is not enough. Those are limiting thoughts. So we got to start taking a place back and we got to start correcting our own thoughts. We can blame everybody else for why our life is in the state that it is, right? But it's not until we take back the power and we say, you know what, hey, I have to value myself more. When I was going through it, I had to have a mindset, regardless of how much money I seen in my bank account. It was about the mindset that I had for myself. I wouldn't call myself broke. I didn't say those things. I don't care if I didn't have anything to eat or if I didn't have the money to go and do certain things. I don't speak that over myself. We gotta watch the things that we speak over ourselves. But if you change your thought process, if you change your perspective and you say, you know what? I may not be where I wanna be right now, but I have the ability and I have the means and the mind and the willpower to get to where I wanna be. I have the faith to get to where I wanna be. I have the structure to get to where I want to be. I'm strong within myself. So as I'm navigating and going along the journey, because we're not waiting until we get to the destination anymore. We're enjoying the journey now. We are accepting ourselves along the journey now. We're not waiting until we have a big house or until we have a car or until we're living this dream job. We're not waiting for that anymore. We're starting to feel good about ourselves today. I'm getting fired up because I'm really passionate about this. I want us to start feeling good about ourselves today. It is our birthright to feel good. That's free. These are the things that money can't buy. And what have we been talking about this whole episode? We've been talking about protecting our peace. So if we know that we want to protect our peace throughout this life, we can't base our peace and our happiness off of temporary things that can be taken away from us like that. You don't base your happiness on those things, because when they go, you need to be able to still have a strong foundation within yourself. I may not have all the money that I need right now, but I have a peace of mind. I may not have the money that I need right now, but I'm in great health. I love people. It's very powerful when you think about it, how abundance truly works. A lot of times we think abundance, we think just money. Your abundance can be your way of life. Your abundance, things can flow to you just by the energy that you're putting out. We already said what you put out, what comes around comes back around, right? So if we know that law of the universe, if we know cause and effect, wouldn't you want to do more good? A lot of times abundance is not money. Abundance is in the way of life. It's in the way that you're living. That's how you add value to yourself. The value comes with our ability to change things about ourselves so that way we can change the world. Because when you have a strong foundation within yourself, you can now reflect that onto other people, and without knowing it, you're a part of the ecosystem. You're a part of the functioning, the system that needs to function in this world. By you just changing yourself. And how do we break generational curses? By changing yourself. You can't change anything until you change yourself. If all it takes is for me to change my perspective so that I'm able to help other people see the light within themselves, that's all you need. We're here to uplift. We have to inspire each other. We need to create a new form of currency where it's not about the paper, the dollar bill anymore, right? We need to start creating exchanges with each other where now we're exchanging meaningful things. We're exchanging trust with each other. We're exchanging kindness, compassion for each other. We're helping each other. We're exchanging motivation. We're reflecting back onto each other. Hey, you may not, and that's another thing I want to point out as well, is being compassionate. We also need to recognize that just like how you didn't have it all together, the next person may not have it all together. Just how I had to get to a place where I had to realize I didn't have my foundation together. I didn't have any standards about myself. I had to get that in place. I had to be gentle with myself. I had to be patient with myself. So as you start to do those things for yourself, start to reflect that and do that for other people. Start to have a little bit more compassion. Start to be a little bit more forgiving. If someone else makes a mistake, stop beating other people up about it. As you talk to yourself with more love, talk to other people with more love. As you motivate yourself, motivate the next person to know that they can do it too. Because if you can win, someone else can win. If I can teach myself how to be better, I can help teach someone else to be better. I can't do the work for them, right? We got to keep coming back to that. You can't do the work for people, but you can inspire them. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up on that note there. We've covered that within our foundation, we need to be able to have standards for ourselves. We need to create morals for ourselves, but we also need to get to a place of compassion and a place of love, you know. So as we learn to apply the attributes of love to ourselves, as we start to fill our own cups with joy, and we start to realize that the power truly lies within ourselves, then we can go out and make a difference in the world. So I encourage anyone who's watching this video, who's been taking notes on this video, to definitely go into a place of introspection, not a place of judgment, but with a place of love, with a place of understanding, with a place of forgiving yourself, taking away any bitterness, any resentment that you may have that's pent up inside of you, and release yourself from that. Start to change your thought patterns. Start to encourage yourself. Start to, be more gentle with yourself. As you take accountability, you can teach other people and you can be there for other people. This journey that I'm on is crazy because I started realizing that a lot of my conflicts and the things that I was going through in my life, this was a war between me and me. The different parts about myself. You see yourself in other people. You see yourself in situations. It's all being reflected back to you. So that way you know what you need to change. Life is just responding back to you. It's just communicating back to you. Your thoughts, what you're thinking, what you're creating. So make it a beautiful place. Why not make your mind stronger? If this video was able to help you in any way, shape, or form, I just encourage you, please, to like, share, and subscribe. And remember to tell a friend, to tell another friend, so that we can all help each other.